What's up, world? This your boy Will, and I'm back again bringing you guys another video. In today's video, guys, I'm going to discuss the differences between the classic Sebenza, the regular Sebenza, and the Sebenza 21. We'll start with the classic. The main differences to see or note that you have a classic Sebenza is going to be the classic 2000 sign on the back, and also it has a double bevel. See if I can get it to focus. If you look there, you'll see where it has like a bevel there. So it's a double bevel in that first cutout before it goes into the flats. Okay, that's a good angle. You see it there, the double bevel there before it goes to the flats. So those are the main differences of the classic. The regular, you can tell it's a regular Sebenza by the volcano cut out in the scale. So that's the main difference of the regular Sebenza. This one was made prior to 2012, so it doesn't have a Idaho made stamp. I do prefer the sterile look or the classic Sebenza logo on the Sebenzas. I'm not a huge fan of the Idaho stamp, Idaho made stamping that's on the back, and this was made after 2012, so it does have that stamping. It's not a huge deal, and it doesn't look that bad on like the Star Benzas or the Wilson Comeback collaboration, because it's smaller and it's off to the side versus it being like this upside down looking angle, but it's not that huge of a deal. The next thing we have is the classic and the regular have female screws in the back. Versus the 21 has male screws on both sides. Alright, and the jimping on these knives aren't the best. Well, not on the classic and regular. They are about the same. You can feel them, so it does give you some traction. But it's not very, very grippy. Now the 21, they did make a big improvement. It's about the same on these because you can actually notice the jimping. It gives you a lot more grip on the finger compared to the other two. But again, because the shape is so straight, I wouldn't recommend this knife for stabbing unless you had no other choice to actually like pierce something. But just to use the knife, I don't use my Sebenzas in that way. I would most likely have like a Strider or something with a Hinderer, which has a more curvature and is just designed better for piercing in my opinion. Alright, the thumb studs are different on these knives. The classic has more of a hex shape, if you can tell by the corners towards the tip of the thumb stud, and it's flat. I do prefer this one better. I do like the classic thumb stud. The regular is almost the same as the 21. It comes up and it's a little rounded on the edge. It's almost the exact same here. This one has like, well, no, it's about the same. It's rounded as well. It's not that sharp. You hear some people say that they're very sharp, but they may vary a little bit. Some may be a little sharper than others. But this has a nice rounded curvature at the tip of that thumb stud as well. Let's see here. The scales also have the cutout here. This is for a clamping system they use to hold the handles in place when they're doing finishing work. But with the unique Sebenzas, I'm not sure if it's only the uniques, but it may be, has the Kobachan added. This is hematite, and it does look nice, but just for a knife that I want to like actually beat up, I wouldn't really want it to have like a Kobachan insert in there if it was a knife that I was going to beat up. But this is one of my collection pieces, so it's fine for me to have that. Another difference is going to be blade shape. The classic Sebenza has the standard blade shape. This is the shape that comes on most of the 21s. And the blade works perfect. The only thing that I don't like is the profile of the blade when the knife is closed. You see how the blade actually drops off into the scale right about there. It has all that real estate. So it kind of just makes the knife look a little funny to me, being up there and drops down. But it really doesn't cause an issue when the blade slices perfect. If you look at the regular, you see how the blade shape actually rides out all the way until you hit almost the Kobuchan insert. And this one has the bull nose blade. It is the same blade that they use on the Sebenza 25. And I just really like that profile of that blade. But when you're cutting something, you're really not going to notice the difference between that blade shape and that. It's just an aesthetic thing for me. And this one is the Insingo. This is the Blade HQ exclusive with the carbon fiber inlays. And I know some people ask what's the difference between an Insingo Sebenza and a 21 Sebenza. They're both R21s. They just call this an Insingo because of that blade shape. And I do like the profile of this blade. It actually rides out further, almost till you pass the hole, like right there before it starts to disappear. And I think the Tanto blade shape actually comes out a little further as well. I haven't owned a Tanto, so I'm not sure. Chris Reeve does make a good Tanto, but I just don't have one in my collection. But I think this is the only one that drops off that quickly. If not, you can leave a comment and say that it drops off the same way this one does. But I think it does come out a little bit further as well. And one of the last differences I have on this knife will be the lanyards, which is not really fair to do because this is an aftermarket lanyard. So I'm not sure if they are different coming from like the factory. But this one just has the flats and it drops down into like a bump. It's the exact same way on this one. Like it drops down to the little bump. But I do like this lanyard the best, the lanyard pin on the regular. And it drops all the way down, kind of like a cone shape. And guys, those are the differences between the knives. Again, this is Will. Thank you for watching this video. Peace.